Today, we're looking at excerpts you brought from the Jagannathashtakam,
Yes, beautiful hymns to Lord Jagannatha.
composed by Adi Shankaracharya, right?
That's right. A hugely influential figure in Hindu philosophy.
So what is it about these verses that makes them so captivating?
Well, the Jagannathashtakam is really special because it shows us so many different sides of Lord Jagannatha. In just the first couple of verses, we see him as this playful god in Vrindavan.
Okay, yeah.
He's playing his flute and the sound of his music. It's like the Yamuna River just flowing. It creates this really vivid image of him being so approachable, so close to his
It's
devotees.
a beautiful image. You can almost hear the music and feel that river flowing. But then, as we get to verse 3,
Things shift. We move to the grand temple at Puri, high on the Nilachala hill, and Jagannatha isn't the playful cowherd god anymore. He's the majestic lord of Nilachala, with his siblings, Balabhadra and Subhadra, right there beside him. It's this duality, the playful and the majestic, that's really at the heart of how people understand Jagannatha.
it really makes you think about how we see the divine, right? Sometimes close and familiar, sometimes awe-inspiring and grand. And every verse, the imagery is just so vivid. We see Jagannatha's peacock feather, his silken garments, his beauty compared to rain-laden clouds, and a spotless lotus.
And this imagery isn't just about describing Jagannatha's appearance. It's about creating a deep experience for the devotee. When you read these verses, you're not just learning about him, you're almost drawn into his presence.
And what's interesting is how each verse ends with that same line. May that Lord Jagannatha always be the focus of my vision. It feels like more than just description. It's a longing to be close to the divine. What do you think this repetition tells us about the nature of devotion?
Well, I think it highlights this really core idea in the Jagannathashtakam and in Bhakti, the path of devotion. A deep, heartfelt yearning for connection with the divine. The devotee wants nothing more than to keep Jagannatha at the forefront of their mind and heart constantly. This longing goes so far beyond just words. It's this deep desire for closeness.
And this yearning is expressed so beautifully in verse 7, where it's almost like a rejection of everything the world values, kingdoms, wealth, even companionship. The devotee finds no joy in any of those things compared to the joy of Jagannatha.
It's a really powerful statement about true devotion. The realization that worldly things, they can't bring lasting happiness. Only the love of God can truly fulfill us.
It makes you wonder what that kind of deep devotion, what it can do for a person.
Well, the Jagannathashtakam suggests that it has this really transformative power. In verse 8, the devotee is pleading for Jagannatha's grace, to be freed from sin and from the cycle of birth and death. It's acknowledging our own limitations and the need for something greater to guide us and free us from suffering.
So the Jagannathashtakam, it's not just beautiful poetry, it's a glimpse into a really profound spiritual journey. And that journey is driven by this love for Jagannatha that changes everything. What stands out to you about this idea of love as a path to liberation?
What's fascinating is that this idea isn't limited to just Hinduism. This longing for something beyond just the material world, the search for deeper meaning, these are universal human experiences. And in verse 6, where we see Jagannatha's feet resting on Ananta Shesha, the cosmic serpent, it hints at this reality that's beyond our limited perception, a connection to the infinite.
That connection to the infinite makes me think about how these verses, while deeply rooted in Hindu tradition, they can speak to anyone searching for something more.
Absolutely. The desire for something beyond ourselves, for a connection with something greater, it resonates across so many cultures and beliefs.
We've seen how these hymns portray Jagannatha in these different ways, how they express this deep longing for the divine, how they offer glimpses into these universal spiritual themes. It's amazing how much meaning is packed into just these few verses.
It is, and this is just the beginning. I think as we delve even deeper, we'll uncover even more layers of meaning within the Jagannathashtakam. And the beauty of the Jagannathashtakam, it isn't just in the ideas, it's in how it uses language. It's like Adi Shankaracharya is a painter, but he's using words to create these vivid scenes and emotions.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like when he compares Jagannatha's beauty to dark rain clouds in verse 4. Not a typical description, but it's so powerful.
It really is, and it goes beyond just appearance. Those rain clouds, they evoke this feeling of awe. They connect Jagannatha to the power of nature.
And we see that connection to nature again in the first verse, where his flute music is compared to the Yamuna River. What do you think Shankaracharya is trying to say by bringing these natural elements into the verses?
Well, by connecting Jagannatha to the river and the rain, I think Shankaracharya is subtly reminding us that the divine is present everywhere, even in the natural world around us. It's like an invitation to experience the divine, not just in temples and rituals, but in the beauty of nature.
That's an interesting point. It's like he's expanding our understanding of where we can find the divine. And he also uses contrasts to show these different aspects of Jagannatha. Like in verse 6, we have this beautiful image of Jagannatha on the Nilachala hill, but his feet are resting on Anantashesha, the cosmic serpent.
It's a really powerful juxtaposition, right? Anantashesha represents infinity, the foundation of all reality. So you have Jagannatha, who's present in this world, in the temple, on the hill, but he's also rooted in something eternal and boundless.
It really emphasizes his duality, doesn't it? He's both here with us and also part of something much bigger than we can imagine.
Yes, exactly. And in that same verse, we also have Srimati Radharani, who finds complete joy in Jagannatha's embrace. It brings in the idea of divine love, which is so central to bhakti poetry.
Yeah, right. Radha's presence reminds us that this relationship between the devotee and the divine, it can be one of deep love and joy.
And it suggests that this love is about more than just physical closeness. It's about this spiritual union, a merging with the divine that transcends the limitations of our physical forms.
Shankaracharya really manages to pack so much meaning into these verses. It's incredible.
It is. He combines devotional fervor with philosophical depth so skillfully. The Jagannathashtakam, it's not just beautiful poetry, it's a work of art that speaks to both the heart and the mind.
So as we read these hymns, we're not just appreciating the beautiful words, but also exploring these deeper ideas hidden within them. It's like each verse is a little treasure chest waiting to be opened.
That's a great analogy. The Jagannathashtakam is a treasure trove of spiritual insights, and with each reading, we can discover something new and deepen our understanding of the divine.
It's amazing how much we've uncovered in just these few verses. Makes you wonder how these ancient hymns written centuries ago can still resonate with people today.
Well, I think it's because some of the themes in the Jagannathashtakam go beyond any specific religion or culture. They speak to something much more universal in the human spirit.
Like what? What kind of universal themes are we talking about?
Well, take the idea of transcendence, for example. In verse 6, we see Jagannatha's feet resting on Anantashesha, the cosmic serpent. Anantashesha represents infinity, the boundless nature of reality. By placing Jagannatha's feet on Anantashesha, Shankaracharya is hinting at something that exists beyond our limited human perception.
That makes sense. A lot of spiritual traditions talk about connecting to something bigger than ourselves, something beyond the material world.
Right, and that's not the only example. Even the devotee's rejection of worldly desires in verse 7, while it's framed within a Hindu context, it speaks to this deeper human longing.
You mean the part where the devotee says they don't want kingdoms or wealth or even beautiful companions? That they only want Jagannatha?
Exactly. That verse expresses a yearning for something more fulfilling than just material possessions. It's a feeling that many people can relate to regardless of their background.
It's like we're all searching for meaning and purpose in life, something that goes deeper than just the things we own or the things we achieve.
Precisely. And the Jagannathashtakam suggests that true fulfillment comes from connecting with something greater than ourselves, something divine.
So while these hymns are deeply rooted in Hindu tradition, they also offer insights that can speak to anyone searching for a deeper understanding of life.
I think that's why the Jagannathashtakam continues to be so powerful. It's not just a collection of beautiful verses. It's an invitation to embark on this journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration.
It has been an incredible journey exploring these hymns with you. We've seen how they portray Jagannatha as this multifaceted deity inspiring deep devotion. We've glimpsed the beauty and power of bhakti yoga, and we even touched on these universal spiritual longings that transcend any cultural boundaries.
The Jagannathashtakam is truly a treasure trove of spiritual wisdom. It offers insights that can really enrich our understanding of both ourselves and the divine.
It has been a wonderful deep dive into the Jagannathashtakam today. I hope you enjoyed our exploration of these beautiful and insightful verses. And as always, we encourage you to continue exploring. Read the full Jagannathashtakam, dive into other devotional poetry, and see what resonates with you. Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep the conversation going.